Okay, well, let me get a medium. Sold out. Let me get a large. Sold out. Let me get an extra large. Sold out. Hey, 2XL. Sold out.
Did you catch what just went down with Sophie Cunningham? The Indiana Fever just brought her on board, and something completely crazy went down the second she walked into the organization. This isn't your usual player intro. This is the kind of moment that's got everyone buzzing.
Sophie Cunningham, we know she showed up in Indy yesterday. She did her press conference. She sent a strong message about a championship and also to the players in the league. I'm feisty, I'm fierce, I'm sassy. I stick up for my teammates. I stick up for myself, and I think that's a good thing. She let us know.
When Sophie hit the stage at her press conference, she came out swinging, her personality blazing for everyone to see. She flat out told everyone she's sassy and someone who's always ready to stand up for herself and her teammates. From the very start, Sophie made it clear she's bringing that fire and competitive edge that Fever fans have been dying for.
So, warning has been served on various fronts. In any case, she got an opportunity to get her jersey.
Right after wrapping up that press conference, Sophie snapped a photo with her brand new number 8 Indiana Fever jersey.
Finally here! Found it!
You could hear the excitement in her voice the second she posted that picture online. The comments came pouring in. Fans were itching to know where they could get their hands on that exact jersey.
Not long after I put it up, I was going through the comments and I noticed someone commented saying, I'm going to get one of those jerseys. Sophie Cunningham, yes, I'm getting that jersey.
But then something unbelievable happened. Within hours, fans started flooding social media, saying they couldn't find Sophie's jersey anywhere. It was completely sold out. She hadn't even played a single minute in a Fever uniform or finished her first full practice yet, and her jerseys were already gone from the shelves.
But the commenter said, I can't get a jersey. These jerseys are gone. These jerseys are about sold out. Can't get one. And I was thinking, wow.
This all went down right after Sophie wrapped up her first gym session with Keith Porter. She had literally just finished her first workout as a Fever player, and fans were already wiping out the merchandise racks for her gear. That's just insane.
Just showed up in Indiana, just had her press conference, just got in the gym already. I know she got in the gym with Keith Porter, knocking down shots, working on stuff. The jersey that you just saw her highlighting, got my jersey, finally here.
Sophie's bold personality and fiery attitude clicked instantly with Fever fans who crave passion and players with swagger. When she made that statement about being sassy and always standing up for her teammates, Fever fans felt that energy and backed it up with their wallets.
Look, I went this morning, I said, let me go see for myself what's up with the sale of the jersey, just because I had seen that comment. So I came on over to the team store. You can get Pacers gear, Fever gear. So here is Sophie Cunningham's jersey. It's the front of the jersey. There's the back of the jersey.
The team store couldn't handle what came next. Fans rushed to buy Sophie's jersey, selling out faster than almost any WNBA player ever, without her even stepping on the court for Indiana. The team was shocked by the demand for a role player, and the merchandise crew is likely still scrambling to restock.
Over here, adult Indiana Fever number 8 Sophie Cunningham Rebel Swingman jersey in red by Nike, $130. Okay, so look at this. There's a size extra small available. Needless to say, that one ain't for me. So this is, look at the rest of these. If you want a small, here's the sign. Here it is right here. Sold out.
How empty are those digital shelves? The merchandise team is facing an unprecedented sellout of Sophie's jersey, something rarely seen for a new player. Checking the Indiana Fever store, I was stunned by what was left. Here's what's still available.
Okay, well, let me get a medium. Sold out. Let me get a large. Sold out. Let me get an extra large. Sold out. Hey, 2XL. Sold out. The only thing that you can get is an extra small, and it still says low stock, 1 item left.
Every size from medium to 2XL is sold out, gone. Only an extra small remains, with just 1 left. The site warns, low stock, like it's the last diamond in the store. The merchandise team is scrambling as fans eagerly drop $130 to support Sophie Cunningham.
Cunningham just showed up in Indy, hasn't played a game yet. And that commenter wasn't lying. If you're extra small, I guess you can grab up that 1 left. That's wild. I guess the message has been sent. The organization is going to have to make sure they have plenty in stock.
What's crazy? Other players' jerseys are still in stock, but Sophie's vanished in a flash. The team orders cautiously for role players, but Sophie's demand caught them off guard. I can almost hear the emergency call. Double production. Sophie's jerseys are gone, even the 2XL.
Right now, low stock, 1 item left, and the rest of these sold.
Now, they're scrambling to restock before the season starts. The merchandise team is in full panic mode, trying to make the most of this surprise sellout. This only happens with superstars or top draft picks, not role players from a trade. The real secret? Indiana fans aren't just jumping on the Caitlin Clark bandwagon. They're emptying their wallets faster than any other fan base, leaving others envious.
Now, I gotta say this because I've said this before, and this is yet another example. Indiana Fever fans. I'm not talking about the people they've been made out to be by people out there, by media, by WNBA players and coaches. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real Indiana Fever fans. Don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk.
Here's the truth. Indiana Fever fans have long been called bandwagoners, but Sophie Cunningham's sellout shatters that. They're proving they're a dedicated hardcore fan base, supporting every player with both their voices and their wallets.
They buy merch, basketballs, Caitlin Clark basketball. They're begging to buy Caitlin Clark's Nike shoe when that shows up. They're buying jerseys.
What sets Indiana fans apart from every other WNBA fan base? While other teams' fans might drop supportive comments online or debate game strategy, Fever fans are taking it to the next level, whipping out their credit cards and showing their loyalty with real purchases. We're talking about a movement so powerful, it's not just making noise, it's completely transforming the franchise.
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Reality's coming. Diana Taurasi told Caitlin Clark before her WNBA debut. But what happened next? The rookie didn't just survive, she flipped the script. Taurasi tried to put her in her place, but Clark responded by breaking records and changing the league. That's not just answering back. It's rewriting history.
Well, I cannot believe we are fixing to have a talk about this particular player in the WNBA because I thought she was supposed to be gone.
Taurasi's tone has shifted, and what she's saying about Clark now? Unbelievable. Remember when Diana said Caitlin wasn't ready for the big leagues? That statement set the basketball world on fire. In a recent interview, Taurasi's words, they've completely changed.
You look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time. But there is going to be a transition period where you're going to have to give yourself some grace as a rookie. And, it might take a little bit longer for some people.
Just like that, it was set. A showdown between the old guard and the new wave of women's basketball. Taurasi's words weren't just casual chatter, they sparked a fire. Within hours, social media was divided, with WNBA legend fans facing off against the college phenom's supporters. You could feel the battle lines being drawn.
We know what she said. We all remember it. There's going to be a transition period. There's going to be a reality check. Yada, yada, yada. All right. Caitlin Clark ultimately got the last laugh over Taurasi. The 23-year-old still made sure to pay respects to one of the league's most decorated players.
What's wild is how fast people picked sides. Some fans backed Taurasi, citing her decades of experience and championships. She's just speaking facts, they said. But Clark's supporters saw something else. Jealousy? Fear of being replaced? The debate exploded on every sports talk show and Twitter thread.
And we know how Taurasi came back, tried to back off her comments after she got the handed to her by Caitlin Clark on multiple occasions.
Veterans questioning rookies isn't new, but Taurasi's public comments hit differently. They added to a growing wave of doubt about Clark's WNBA transition. Analysts voiced skepticism. She won't get those shots against pros. The physicality will be too much. These narratives piled on, creating huge pressure before Clark even played her first game.
Really, Taurasi said some glowing things about Clark after the game. Why did that matter? Because she made the whole reality is coming comments, and she was also and is also maybe the, biggest figure in the history of the sport, certainly in that conversation, right? And when she said the reality is coming thing, that kind of became the mantra to Clark's rookie season.
But have you seen how Clark responded? Instead of firing back, she took the high road. When asked about Taurasi's comments, Clark simply said, "That's somebody I grew up idolizing. No trash talk, no defensiveness, just pure respect." Can you feel the tension building toward their first matchup?
Because we remember what she said to Scott Van Pelt on SportsCenter for ESPN months ago, when she said there's levels to this. It's one thing to go against young girls and stuff like that. You about to go up against grown women. We're going to be waiting for.
Fans circled this game, rookie versus legend. Would Taurasi back up her words, or would Clark prove she belonged? The hype was unreal, but Clark wasn't fazed. She got the best of Taurasi in their first matchup.
Obviously, a lot was made of this matchup between yourself and Diana Taurasi. I know she's one of your idols. How big is it for you to get a win here against her today?
I'm just happy we won. It was cool to play against her, and obviously a really great game. And like you said, this crowd was absolutely incredible.
Did Taurasi underestimate Clark's ability to adapt? It's hard to say otherwise. While Taurasi warned her about reality, Clark was quietly preparing to exceed expectations. Her response? Letting her game do the talking.
Diana Taurasi famously said reality is coming for Caitlin Clark when she gets to the WNBA. But the reality is Taurasi also has a ton of respect for Clark, as she expressed following the Fever's win over the Phoenix Mercury in the first ever career head-to-head matchup.
That quiet preparation was no show. It was the calm before a storm. While others debated if Clark could handle the WNBA's physicality, she was planning something unprecedented. Not just competing with legends like Taurasi, but surpassing them and forcing the entire basketball world to rethink rookie potential.
The best point guard in the WNBA, objectively, Caitlin Clark. In her one professional season in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark came away with an average of 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds for the season.
From the moment Clark hit the court for the Indiana Fever, she didn't play like a rookie. She played like she owned it. Game after game, her stats had analysts double-checking their numbers. 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds. She didn't just lead rookies. She led the whole league in assists and three-pointers. This wasn't adapting to the pros. This was redefining rookie potential. All of this happened under a microscope. Every move, every shot picked apart in real time on social media. The pressure would have crushed most, but Clark thrived on it. She used those doubts as fuel, especially when facing the team of her biggest critic.
By the way, Caitlin Clark has made some remarks about Diana Taurasi, and it seems the one player she had the most fun taking to the woodshed, and who could blame her after the there's going to be a reality check. Yeah, you're right. You got swept by the rookie, destroyed, obliterated. Caitlin Clark made some comments, and she has come out and said, basically, crushing Diana Taurasi was her favorite part of last year.
When Clark faced the Phoenix Mercury, she didn't just compete, she dominated. In one game, she dropped 29 points, 10 assists, and 5 rebounds, leading her team to victory. And it wasn't a fluke. The Fever swept the Mercury in their regular season matchups. The rookie, who was supposed to struggle against veterans, was now beating them consistently.
She got a dose of her own medicine real fast, did she not? Talked all that trash, all of that trash. That didn't work out very well for you at all.
Clark wasn't done making statements. In a poetic twist, she broke Taurasi's three-point record, hitting her 122nd to pass the legend who doubted her. If there was ever a I belong here moment, that was it.
And of course, no one has more gravitas in the space than Taurasi. But when Taurasi sort of, deaded all that and embraced Clark, it felt like the moment a lot of the tensions would break down. Of course, that wasn't completely the case, as we've seen. But in that moment, it did feel like, all right, you've made it. You've earned it, right? Like, you've shown it. There's no fronting on your game.
What's most impressive? Clark didn't just shine individually. She transformed the Indiana Fever. A team that had been irrelevant for years made their first playoff appearance since 2016, all with Clark leading the way. She didn't just join a team, she revitalized it, bringing fans back like never before.
A lot of people say that Caitlin Clark moves the needle. That is wrong. She is the needle. She dictates. We all know what she's done on the floor. It's history, right? But off the floor, my goodness.
Clark's impact went beyond her team. For the first time, the WNBA outdrew the NHL in average live viewers during the regular season. The league Taurasi helped build for years was now booming, thanks to the rookie she had once doubted.
And it's very interesting that all of a sudden a player that was supposed to, Diana Taurasi is supposed to retire, right? The old dinosaur is supposed to retire. Well, now you have outlets talking about landing spots for Diana Taurasi. Wait, come again?
The moment everything changed? When Taurasi put her arm around Clark. That wasn't just a gesture. It marked the start of a surprising shift. After weeks of domination, Taurasi's dismissive attitude gave way to respect.
Caitlin Clark being embraced by Diana Taurasi after the Fever beat the Mercury in that game, and they played each other, was one of the coolest moments of the WNBA season.
You could almost see Taurasi's internal struggle. After 2 decades of dominance, she watched a rookie take the league to new heights. How do you process that? The answer came in a moment no one saw coming.
It's kind of like when you go from kindergarten to first grade, there's a learning adjustment. When you go from high school to college, there's a learning adjustment. I don't think I said anything that wasn't factually correct, and like anything, greatness is going to translate, and she's proven that in every level, and I don't see it being any different in the WNBA.
What Caitlin has done in her short career is nothing short of remarkable. Those words, from Diana Taurasi herself, the same player who'd warned Clark about the harsh reality of the pros. Talk about a 180. The basketball world did a double take. Was this the same Taurasi who'd been dismissive months ago? This wasn't just acknowledgement, it was a full endorsement that shook the league. Is the WNBA racist? Some would say so, but let's discuss some facts and numbers first. By all means, this was the best year the WNBA has ever had. They set an all-time record for total television viewers, reaching 54 million people. They also set an all-time record for the number of broadcasts that hit at least 1 million viewers. The league saw its highest total attendance in more than 2 decades, with a massive 50% increase compared to last year. The All-Star Game broke new ground with a staggering 10 million fan votes, a more than 500% increase from the previous year. The Indiana Fever, the team Caitlin Clark plays for, managed to set an all-time single-season attendance record for a WNBA team. Beyond that, the league saw a 350% year-over-year growth in subscriptions to their paid streaming service. Add to that more social media engagement, more sellout crowds, more news coverage, and more merchandise sales than ever before. It's the kind of season that WNBA executives likely never imagined was possible. Now, given all these remarkable achievements, how much money do you think the WNBA made this year? How much revenue could such a groundbreaking season bring in? What kind of profit do you think they were able to achieve? Earlier in the year, there were reports suggesting that the WNBA's finances weren't looking great, and now that the final numbers are in, those estimates have proven to be pretty accurate. According to the New York Post, the WNBA lost $40 million this year. Yes, during its best season ever, the league still managed to operate at a loss of $40 million. They exceeded nearly every metric for growth and engagement, and yet failed to turn a profit. This isn't just a bad year financially, it's a pattern. The WNBA has never been profitable in its entire history, and at this point, it's difficult to see how that could ever change. It's a concept fundamentally at odds with reality, because the majority of Americans simply aren't interested in watching women's basketball. Even during a record-breaking year like this one, the numbers show that interest still isn't enough to sustain the league financially. This backdrop makes Caitlin Clark's recent interview with Time magazine particularly interesting. Time, which still exists, recently named Clark their Athlete of the Year and featured her on the cover. In the article, Clark made a statement that's simultaneously revealing and controversial. Here's the part that stands out, directly from Time magazine. "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is privilege," says Clark. A lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. The more we can appreciate that, highlight that, talk about that, and then continue to have brands and companies invest in those players that have made this league incredible, I think it's very important. I have to continue to try to change that. The more we can elevate black women, that's going to be a beautiful thing. There are two things happening here. First, Clark is crediting black women with building the WNBA. Without them, she argues, the league wouldn't exist. While this might be intended as a compliment, it's a bit like praising someone for founding a business that consistently loses millions of dollars. However, even this claim isn't entirely accurate. The WNBA was built and is still financially sustained by the NBA. Without the NBA's funding and support, the WNBA wouldn't exist at all. She goes further to say that black women deserve to be elevated and celebrated, which makes it clear why she's saying this. She's protecting her endorsements and her status in the WNBA by endorsing a narrative that aligns with modern progressive ideals. What's interesting is that Clark's words come after and during a season in which she faced relentless abuse on the court. Whether it was being knocked over, poked in the eye, or shoulder-checked, Clark was repeatedly targeted, and in some cases even taunted afterward. Yet, despite this treatment, she's out here claiming that she has privilege. As a white woman in the WNBA, her experience suggests anything but privilege. What she does have is undeniable talent. Clark set records as a rookie, including the most points, the most assists, and becoming the fastest player to reach 300 points. Her performance is the reason she's a standout, not her race. However, her willingness to embrace the narrative of privilege, even after the way she was treated on the court, raises questions about whether she's doing so out of conviction or necessity. The WNBA, for all its growth and engagement, remains a business with fundamental issues. Even in its best year, it couldn't come close to profitability. Clark's commentary highlights the league's reliance on all players, but doesn't address the underlying problem. The WNBA is asking for an audience that largely doesn't exist. The record-breaking engagement figures show progress, but they also show limits. A majority of Americans still aren't tuning in, even when the league reaches its peak. In the end, the WNBA's challenges go far beyond racial dynamics or privilege. The league's financial woes point to a deeper issue: its inability to convert interest into sustainable revenue. Caitlin Clark's remarks may spark conversations, but they don't change the reality that the WNBA is, at its core, a business struggling to justify its existence in the sports market.
To all the crazy people on social media calling her every name under the sun because she chose to play in Indiana. These are the same people that are like, oh, she'll never play in Indiana for obvious reasons. And she went and defended the Indiana fans and was like, talking about, she was basically like, talking positively about the fans that were interacting with her positively, and was responding to one of the crazy posts about her being like, I'm getting screenshots of things you were saying about me. Can you just stop?
DeWanna Bonner just shattered her 6-month Twitter silence, and she didn't return with a simple "I'm back" tweet. Instead, she unleashed a bombshell that's got the entire WNBA buzzing. Not only is she joining the Indiana Fever, but she's also turning the tables on a worn-out narrative. You know the one, that Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever fans are toxic? That storyline is officially over, thanks to one powerful tweet from Bonner.
This WNBA offseason told a lot of dumbass narratives, right? It really did. And I hope they're gone for good. And I hope we spend so much less time discussing nonsense. But I think we've seen it stamped out this offseason. And one of those narratives was people wouldn't want to go to the Fever because of the Fever fan base.
Now, you might be asking, isn't that the team everyone seems to love to despise? Well, Bonner isn't buying into that narrative. She just dropped a tweet that's sending shockwaves through the league. And believe me, it's touching on issues that go far beyond just the game of basketball.
It goes to show you that I think hopefully all that stuff has been put in the rear view. And of course, Bonner is a pro.
Imagine this: Bonner casually scrolling through her phone, likely with a steaming cup of coffee in hand, stumbles upon the usual noise. Critics are bashing her for signing with Indiana. Detractors claim no one would ever choose to play for the Fever. And those so-called experts are clinging to their tired narrative like it's the final slice of pizza at a party. But instead of brushing it off, Bonner had enough. She didn't merely respond. She dismantled that feeble storyline with the precision of one of her signature shot blocks.
Y'all, I don't get on here often because this app is insanely too much sometimes. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for all the love I've received so far. Deaf, not unnoticed. The love is real.
Her tweet was absolute fire. It wasn't just about defending herself. It was a full-throttle rally for Indiana Fever fans. In essence, Bonner declared, "You're loud, you're passionate, and you're real. That isn't toxic. That's what genuine fandom looks like." And she didn't stop there. She pulled back the curtain on the hypocrisy. How is it that when other fan bases show their passion, it's hailed as support, but when it comes to Indiana, it's painted in a different light? It just doesn't add up.
She's gone online for 2 times. One is to call out the crazy people attacking her right now because she joined the Fever.
And here's why it matters. Bonner isn't some rookie scrambling for attention. She's a champion, a bona fide legend on the court, and an unstoppable force when it comes to scoring. When she speaks, the entire league listens. This isn't merely a player airing grievances online. It's a respected leader calling out the absurdity. Having witnessed it all in the WNBA, she's unafraid to voice what everyone else has been thinking.
You know, Fever fans are probably starving for that. And I think seeing the validation of the players choosing their team.
But here's the twist. Her tweet wasn't solely aimed at the fans. Bonner put the entire league on alert, making it crystal clear that Indiana isn't just a team fighting to stay relevant. With Caitlin Clark leading the charge, the Fever are crafting something truly extraordinary, and Bonner is all in. She's not merely joining a team, she's stepping into a movement.
And it's funny because if you're seeing like Duana Bonner, if you're seeing like Natasha Howard, on social media, Natasha Howard's posts are getting 100 times more likes, and Duana Bonner's being reacted more positively probably than she ever has been in her career.
And get this, the reaction has been nothing short of phenomenal. Fans are rallying behind her, Fever supporters are louder than ever, and even players from rival teams are stepping up to show their support. The whole narrative has been completely overturned.
Be an olive branch to us all to focus on the basketball. But I did think it was worth sharing simply because I know a lot of those fans, the new fans, felt rejected and beaten down a lot. And I think this is symbolic.
Now all those critics who once insisted no one was eager to play for Indiana are scrambling to backtrack, acting as if they never said a word. Meanwhile, Bonner, Caitlin Clark, and the Fever are busy strategizing their next move. And trust me, what's coming is nothing short of legendary.
You know, no argument that the Fever are a great basketball destination. That Caitlin Clark is a great basketball.
Chances are you've caught wind of the so-called Indiana Fever fan controversy. But do you really know the full story? It all began when Alyssa Thomas, Bonner's wife, decided to stir the pot. She boldly claimed that Fever fans were so intimidating, players were shunning the team, as if they were avoiding a barren basketball wasteland.
In my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. You know, we had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And yeah, there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media.
Here's the twist. Despite all the chatter, star players are eagerly lining up to join the Fever. Duana Bonner, Natasha Howard, these aren't just role players, they're bona fide WNBA icons. When they saw those headlines labeling the fan base as toxic, their response was a resounding, "Count me in." Now, let's talk facts. The numbers speak for themselves. Fever fan engagement is skyrocketing. We're talking sold-out arenas, merchandise flying off the shelves, and social media buzzing like it's draft night every day. This fan base isn't toxic, it's downright electric. And let's not overlook the Caitlin Clark effect. This isn't just a player making ripples. She's a tidal force, turning casual observers into die-hard fans. The very team once dismissed as irrelevant is now the hottest ticket in town. It's like criticizing an entire library because one book had a torn page. It just doesn't add up.
The Fever fan base being painted with this broad brushstroke was always just stupid, really. There's no other word for it, because Caitlin Clark brought more fans to the league than it's ever seen. So many of them are Fever fans, and the new fans that come in outnumber the old fans that were already there. You don't want to tell those people they're unwelcome.
So what's really going on here? Are Fever fans as cruel as a few bitter voices claim? Not even close. Sure, every team has its share of misfits. That's just part of the game. But those few don't define the overall culture. The true spirit of this fan base is all about passion, and it's that very energy that's powering the Fever's ascent.
And a lot of fans, I think, felt unwelcome as a result of that, because when you look at every sport and every fan base, there are going to be bad apples. With every group of people, there are. And the larger that group becomes, of course, then the larger the small percentage of bad apples are. But if you've ever followed sports, you see people acting stupid online or even live at games.
Here's the bottom line. Why are top-tier players flocking to Indiana? It's straightforward. They see the vision. They recognize what's brewing in that front office. Perhaps it's the chance to win, the lucrative endorsements, or simply the understanding that Indiana Fever fans form the backbone of something extraordinary, not a problem. The reality is that this team is redefining the narrative. From dismantling outdated perceptions to building an electrifying culture fueled by passionate supporters, the Fever are on the rise. In the end, it's not just about basketball. It's about creating a legacy and proving that when you have vision and true fan support, you can turn any doubter into a believer.
You know, I love talking about Caitlin Clark on this show, and she participated in some kind of LPGA Pro-Am, drew monster crowds. There's pictures of just like everybody trying to get an autograph with Caitlin Clark.
Outrageous criticism, media frenzy, and a string of headlines. It's safe to say that Caitlin Clark has been at the center of controversy over the past few months. In a move that caught everyone off guard, Clark struck a headline-making deal with the LPGA, calling her WNBA legacy into question and sparking debates about loyalty, fame, and ambition.
One more key photo. Caitlin, Jay Monahan. Great to meet you. Looking forward to this afternoon together. Okay, go. Come on. Hug it out. Squeeze in close together. We'll get one right here, please.
Speaking of which, the Caitlin Clark effect is starting to take shape. After delivering what could be the best rookie season in NBA history, she made the unexpected move to female golf, where she's now being heralded as the next big thing. But how did Clark manage to conquer 2 worlds in just 8 months? And why are critics calling her success a betrayal of women's basketball? In this video, we'll break down everything from Caitlin Clark's new deal to the backlash and everything surrounding her controversial journey. But before we dive in, let's take a trip down memory lane. At the start of the year, the Caitlin Clark effect was undeniable. Even before she set foot on a WNBA court, ticket sales for every platform skyrocketed by over 90% once she declared for the draft. Her performance in the league has been nothing short of outstanding. In her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, she averaged 19 points per game, scoring at least 13 points in 29 of her 36 games this year. What's even more surprising are her record-breaking feats, becoming the first player in WNBA history to hit over 100 three-point shots and rack up 300 assists in a single season. At this point, NBA analysts were already calling her a generational talent. But Clark's influence wasn't just reflected in the numbers, it was in the stands as well. Every week, Fever games turned into must-watch events, with fans traveling from across the country to see her play. She brought an entirely new audience to the WNBA. Meanwhile, Reese wasn't just riding the wave of hype, she was making her own history, becoming the first rookie to record an all-star game, double-double, the first WNBA player to achieve back-to-back 20-rebound games, and pulling off an impressive 24 double-doubles in her rookie season. While others are still trying to catch up, Reese is reshaping the game, and Clark has done more than just elevate the league's profile. However, while Clark was drawing record crowds, boosting TV ratings, and breathing new life into women's basketball, the WNBA failed to make her the face of the league. As a result, Caitlin Clark is now taking her talents and fan base elsewhere. Enter her debut at an LPGA Pro-Am, which drew bigger crowds than some of the tour's main events. At this point, she's not just rewriting the narrative in basketball, she's also making waves in women's golf. Playing alongside world #1 Nelly Korda at the Pelican Golf Club's Annika Pro-Am, Clark showed that her influence extends far beyond the basketball court. If anyone thought her dominance was limited to the hardwood, her impressive performance on the greens has now silenced many doubters. When Caitlin Clark stepped onto the Pelican Golf Club course, it was clear this wasn't just another golfer taking their turn. The LPGA capitalized on the moment by pairing Clark with Nelly Korda, a marketing move that spotlighted both players as generational talents. The anticipation was electric, and even the Golf Channel rearranged its programming to cover her live. something unheard of for a Pro-Am event. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark took the spotlight in Florida, drawing massive crowds and once again proving that her star power extends well beyond the basketball court. Alongside Korda, Clark played with tournament host Annika Sorenstam, teeing off at the crack of dawn and launching an early shot into the gallery. Fans were glued to her every move at Pelican Golf Club. The WNBA Rookie of the Year's presence drove ticket sales and boosted media attention for the event. After the round, she was swarmed for autographs, and with an endorsement deal from Gainbridge, the LPGA tournament's sponsor, and a role in a women's leadership summit, it was clear her presence was far from casual. While Clark insists that golf is her escape, her single long-range putt left fans wondering, is she just playing for fun, or is she quietly taking over yet another sport? One thing is clear, the LPGA is thriving on Caitlin Clark's star power in a way the WNBA could only dream of. The media and golf elite couldn't stop singing her praises. 8-time LPGA champion Nelly Korda, who played alongside Clark, had nothing but admiration for her after the game, praising her skills and presence on the course.
So amazing. She's so sweet, so nice. It was nice to kind of get to spend some time with her. We've messaged a little on Instagram beforehand, but to get to spend some time with her and to see the influence that she has on people, bringing people out here, and to see how amazing of an influence she is.
The praise didn't stop with Nelly Korda. LPGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan was equally blown away, calling Caitlin Clark's performance incredible and applauding her passion for the game. Overall, Clark's presence on the course didn't just spark excitement, it stirred up drama. Her growing star power now threatens to overshadow seasoned pros in yet another sport. Is Caitlin Clark the crossover phenom golf never knew it needed? Or is this a sign that women's sports are evolving faster than their leagues can keep up? At this point, it's clear Clark isn't slowing down anytime soon. However, not everyone is cheering for Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise. While Korda and Monahan praised her for uniting fans across sports, insiders in the WNBA are reportedly seething over her crossover success. The LPGA's full-court press to spotlight Clark has left some in the WNBA feeling left behind. Insiders claim league officials are frustrated, not only by the LPGA's success, but also because the WNBA has failed to fully capitalize on Clark's star power. Social media lit up with clips of her swings, and national basketball and golf media flocked to the event. Tournament host and golf legend Annika Sorenstam captured the moment perfectly, highlighting Clark's undeniable impact on the sport. For better or worse, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the playbook for crossover stardom and shaking up women's sports in the process. Despite questions about her commitment to golf, it was revealed she's been swinging clubs since childhood. After making her 2023 debut at the John Deere Classic alongside major champion Zach Johnson, Clark's appearance at the Pelican Golf Club proved one thing: her crossover appeal is no fluke. Meanwhile, WNBA enthusiasts are rumored to feel overshadowed by Clark's dominance on the golf course, despite her record-breaking rookie season on the basketball court. While golf fans flock to see her tee off and whispers of a potential LPGA contract swirl, WNBA fans are left asking why their league hasn't given Clark the same level of attention. Take her Rookie of the Year award, for example. Rather than a grand celebration for her groundbreaking achievements, it was handed out in a nearly empty arena with little fanfare, a baffling move for someone who has done more to elevate the league in one season than most players do in a career. As the buzz around Clark's golf ventures intensifies, the WNBA's failure to capitalize on her star power becomes increasingly obvious. The LPGA has done what the WNBA couldn't. They turned Caitlin Clark's star power into a game changer. But here's the irony. Caitlin's rise should be a win for everyone. She has brought unprecedented attention to women's sports. Yet, while the LPGA embraced the moment and ran with it, the WNBA stayed stuck in its old ways, hesitant, overly cautious, and failing to seize the bold opportunity. When a male NBA or NFL star steps into another sport, social media explodes with hype. This was the WNBA's chance to do the same, celebrate Clark, ride the wave of excitement, and prove they can champion their biggest stars. Instead, they fumbled. Now, the league finds itself at a crossroads, grappling with a familiar issue: how to balance promoting standout players like Clark while still pushing the league forward as a whole. The LPGA made its move and won. Meanwhile, the WNBA risks being left in the dust, overshadowed by a star they didn't know how to celebrate. As Clark juggles her intense off-season training while fielding interest from the rapidly growing 3-on-3 women's basketball league, her crossover into golf raises an even bigger question. Is Caitlin Clark reshaping women's sports? Or is she quietly stepping away from basketball altogether?